Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake. You can also call me Atrocious, and today I've got for you the finals of the Tokyo Wave 2 Area 1 Championships. Been a long time coming. It's going to be a rematch of one of the other rounds in this tournament. The last video, Enel versus Doflamingo. If you haven't gone and checked out that top 4 video or any of the other videos from this tournament, I've got a playlist on my channel that's got every round in this top cut that they streamed in this tournament. And it's going to be interesting to see if Enel can execute the same strategies against Doflamingo as it did within the top 4 round. Doflamingo attack with plenty of swarm. Can Enel, with its removal and also its survivability, overpass the amount of bodies that hit the field? It's going to be a great one, but I want to mention here before we get any farther that I am watching the official live stream. I am not the official live stream. If you want to go check out the official video, don't want to hear me yap, you can check the link in the description below. As always, of these tournaments, I've always got the official link in the description. And before we get going, as our Enel player mulligans, maybe save a little bit of time, let's hear from a word from our sponsor. Thank you so much to Nen Garden for sponsoring this video. I'm sure you've heard of Nen Garden before and maybe seen some of their designs on different social medias. Their Gear 5-1, arguably their most notable design. I love this one. If you're preparing for OP09, they have plenty of designs to match your favorite decks, including their new Joker design, right, in 2 different variants of full color and this sleek black and white, as well as a beautiful new red-haired playmat and their stained glass 4 Emperor's mat. They've also got plenty of playmats of other mainstream series that you know and love, including Don, a great one as of late, Chainsaw Man, my personal favorite, of course. They've got a huge deal right now where they are giving 25% off with this code HOLIDAY25, and you can save 5% off on your order if you use my code Atrocious. Combining those 2 codes together saves you 30% off during this holiday season. Use that Christmas money, especially while there's a discount on those prices, and make sure you don't miss a beat. Both players now with starting hands. Let's see how it goes in this one. Looks like the Enel player right now. Ooh, interesting hand. So 2 of the new OP10 electromagnetic cannons, as well as a Dareshi, Raigo, and Yamato. So heavy on the events. This list much heavier on the events than what we're used to in these Enel matches, right? With that OP10 card, electromagnetic cannon, going to be very good for getting rid of bodies, but also being able to kind of see the life a little bit in that event. The Doflamingo player has a Boa Jinbei Weevil combo, as well as a buggy for looking at some of the top cards, and also a 2-cost perfume femur. Gonna be nice to get around any blockers that come in the game, right? Shirahoshi being a card that has been great in there, the 2-cost Shirahoshi. Gonna be nice to potentially get around that character, and so we're gonna see how this goes. Looks like Enel is starting first in this game, so we'll see on the odd curve how they can manage to do this. Looks like both players having fun, all smiles, ready for this championship final, and we're off. Starting off just a Dawn and pass, nothing to do, right? No characters or events to play. Next turn, probably going to swing 5 and use that Dareshi. May not even swing at all, right? Enel usually doing the kind of starve method in this one. The Doflamingo getting a 2 Dawn turn, does top deck Martial D Teach, so might be wanting to play that down or maybe use the buggy instead to just look at the top 3, kind of give a little bit of information on their side, maybe gauge, okay, how many 2Ks do I have, how many laws, leader effects can I use, and what does it get? Does find a Jinbei in the top 3, so Perona, Teach, and Jinbei, gonna be an interesting combo, right? Could use that Boa or the Weevil in hand. Might start out with the leader effect from there, and then in the follow-up turn, go Jinbei, Boa. Might be a strong game plan, right? More Jinbeis that are Doflamingo see usually lead to better game plans and better execution throughout the matches that we've seen of this deck in its dominance since OP07's release, or really didn't actually really get going until OP08 when Law got banned, right? Especially out here in the West. But I digress. We move into the 3-Dawn turn. Going to be going ahead using Dareshi. Dareshi, a really nice card. Able to look at that top 5, find 2 cards with trigger on them. With so many different triggers in this deck, a Frankie 2K is so nice, as well as a 5-drop Nami. Not only getting some counter, but also some removal cards in hand. So could be nice once these swings start coming in. The Doflamingo, now on a 4-Dawn turn, is going to go ahead, potentially attach 3, just go in with that leader effect. And with that leader effect is going to go ahead with the Jinbei, like I mentioned, use that. We will draw the 1 card. Going to find that 3rd card that we saw on a Rygo trigger. Nice first trigger is going to get rid of that Weevil. Rygo as a trigger, very, very nice, right? You don't want to use Rygo too early in games like this, in matchups like this, because have to force yourself down to go to 1. So having that trigger is so exceptional at this point, and attaching the rest of it on, swinging at that Jinbei, continues with the starvability effect that the Enel is going to try to force the Dofi to use only 1 swing per turn at this point. So after the draws, still has that other Jinbei in hand. Looks like they're going to go ahead and use it. Jinbei into Boa. Boa is going to be nice to look at that top 3, and they're going to be able to potentially use leader effect, right? Another Jinbei right there within the top 3. Might be looking to put it on top, as a Dracul Mihawk is also in there. A nice 2K along with the Perona. So he's going to go ahead, put it on top. Jinbei, that 1-Dawn from the Boa, is going to go ahead, swing 7, is going to play that guy down, and another character coming on the field. That Law is going to put that Buggy back in hand. You don't really put anything back in hand yet, maybe deciding if he wants to put the Law itself back in hand, right? Remember that with that Law leader effect, after you put one of your characters back in hand, you can choose whether on your side or your opponent's side to put another character back into the hand, and does not choose to put any more. Wants that body on the field. The Enel taking the life as usual within this deck. Now a large hand is going to go ahead with that 4, use that cannon. So the cannon going to be able to get rid of the Boa and also look at life if they want to, but not opting to look at the life. Very interesting. I want to pause on this real quick, because in the last video, right, when electromagnetic cannon was played, some of the YouTube comments were asking why he did not look at the life. So I'm going to pull up the translation. So according to OnePieceTopDecks.com, the translation says, look at up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards, place it at the top or bottom of the life, then KO up to one of your opponent's character cost of 5 or less. So the Enel player just not opting to go in and look at the life, at least on this one, but with resting, attaching the rest of the 3, swinging at that Jinbei. 8,000 power, does take 2 knockouts, right? Helps clear the board a little bit. Still another cannon in hand. We'll see if on the next one that he wants to potentially do it. I'm not 100% sure as to why he doesn't. I don't believe, at least through my rough translation of reading the card, that it's leader locked at all. So maybe the opponent just not really caring what's in the Doflamingo's life. Maybe the getting a clarification from the judge right now, maybe saying you have to or not. Moving on within the game, the Doflamingo now does have to decide what they want to do. I think 3 Jinbeis have been seen at this point and played, so you only have a little bit more of that left unless you play that 4-drop Gecko from the original Crocodile starter deck. But it's going to start out with Perona, and so Perona looking at that top 5. Let's see what they can find. A couple more. That Mihawk 2K we already knew, as well as I believe a Trafalgar Law 4-drop in there is peeking by that Perona. And what's that other card? Oh, Gravity Blade. So Gravity Blade maybe not very useful within this matchup specifically, especially because the Gravity Blade, right, gets rid of 6 costs or less. The Enel is going to start playing gigantic bodies, the 9 drops, 10 drops, etc. And so don't really have a lot of time for the 6 cost characters. So what do you do in this situation? You don't really enjoy this top 5, but if you put it down at the bottom of the deck, how much do you need those cards, right? Perona can put the cards at either the top or bottom. So if you don't want to see those cards again, well, you have that opportunity to those cards, but you have to make sure that you don't want them for the rest of this game. So he's going to go ahead and put it on top, putting the Trafalgar Law there. Is probably going to use that Trafalgar Law on the effect, get that Perona back in hand potentially, and then go in, maybe use Perona to put the rest of those cards at the bottom of the deck. That's something we could see in this turn. Is thinking about swinging with the Jinbei, just wants to apply some pressure. Is going to be a nice Nami counter out, and this Law right here probably going to be the Frankie, but decides to take it. Says, you know what, only one more swing is going to be coming in this turn. It's going to be Shirahoshi in my hand, and the leader effect is going to go off. Going to put down the Law, pick up the Perona, and potentially the Jinbei as well as the other character. Going to put both of them back in hand, and I do like this play, right? You do have 4 Dawn left. Could go ahead, play the Jinbei back down and the Dracul Mihawk. It's going to be able to get the Jinbei into the active, right? You can't swing at it, but also play down another character. So great job utilizing those laws in the turn and being aware of, oh yeah, I can pick up the character. So Yamato is going to come in and be able to KO anything right now. Just looking at the trash, gonna see a couple Jinbeis in there, so take out that Jinbei, a bunch of 5,000 power characters, gain that life, and pass off the turn. So now we move into the Doflamingo's turn at this point. Should be at a full 10 Dawn, I believe. Yes, there we go. Now putting out the Dawn. These players moving very quick in this game, probably have prepared for this matchup, whether in theory crafting or in before the tournament. And so now we move into this one. What is the Doflamingo going to do right now? Pudding could be a very nice card, right? Huge hand for the Enel. We saw Pudding played in the top 4 match, and even though the Enel drew out of it very well, especially in combination with the different triggers that they had, the Pudding still does damage, and especially with a quick math, it looks like 9 card hand. The Pudding would be able to minus about 4 cards in the hand, especially for the rest of the defense. So something that you got to be aware of if you're the Enel player, maybe something that you kind of just accept happen at times, right? But how much do you go in with the swings from your other characters is going to attach to the Mihawk. The Mihawk on this 7k swing, because it has 2 Dawn attached, is going to go ahead, draw 2, trash 2. You only need 1, but 7 being just a great number overall, is going to go ahead, take that life. Going to be an 8-drop Katakuri swing, another 7 right here, and probably going to be a counter out, but takes the life instead, and it's going to be a Dareshi. Dareshi with a trigger of draw 1 is going to go ahead, gain a life, trash a card. Going to be that Lucy. Lucy, an interesting tech in this deck, is not used in this matchup too much, and now another 7k is coming in from the Law. So got to be a little bit wary right here. Want to counter out of this one, because if you go down to 0, not using the leader effect again, so going to not use the Pudding in this turn, is going to go ahead, maybe use the for the Perona. Look at that top 5. We know some of the other cards from earlier in this one. It looks like a Jinbei was added to there, so that's your last Jinbei. Do you utilize that last Jinbei, right? There's 2 gravity blades in there. You do have a Sengoku, right? Sengoku is going to be able to put some of those gravity blades at the bottom of the deck, since they're probably not going to be used. They're going to be dead cards in your hand. So it looks like it's going to put them on top. Jinbei, Pudding, and then Sengoku. And so using that Jinbei, gonna put down another Mihawk, another 2k, and gonna take that life, go down to 0. And so drawing for turn, you have 10 drop aces in your hand, right? 3 of them to be exact. You're gonna be able to gain a life every single turn from that, and with a lot of non-counter cards too. Could be a little scary with all of these bodies on the field. So going ahead, swinging 6 is going to play Yamato. Yamato is going to guarantee a removal and gain a life. Get rid of that active Mihawk, swing at the other Mihawk, really try to debilitate the amount of hand filtering that they can utilize in their game. So now with 3 characters back again, 4 swings in total in this turn. Going to be interesting to see how the Enel really balances in this turn. Does Pudding get played? Only 3 cards in hand from the Doflamingo. And so pudding comes down in this turn. All of the hand goes back into the deck. You got to feel a little good, I feel like, if you're the Enel player, right? An opportunity to draw a ton of counter. You actually had a lot of non-counter in hand to probably manage against a lot of these swings. So hopefully you can grab some 2Ks out of here. Hopefully you can grab some 1Ks potentially, maybe a 0 cost event, a brick, and 5 cards are going to come into the hand for our Enel player right here. Let's see what they are. Looks like it's going to be a decent amount of counter, just maybe a little less counter than you had before, but you had double the amount of cards in hand. So is going to be nice, right? Off of your leader effect, you can pitch the Rygo, right? And you've got 2K, 1K, 1K in the Beige, Nami, and Shirahoshi. So not a bad hand at all, drawing off of that pudding, right? Very lucky to get a good amount of cards, I feel like, on this one. But what do you do with the rest of the Dawn, right? You know what that top card of the deck is. It's going to be a Sengoku. Effect is not going to be able to get you anything in terms of stuff that you'll want. So how do you ration out this Dawn on coming swings? He's going to go ahead, attach one, swing 6, and I like 6 at this point, right? Especially after doing a pudding, maybe not a lot of 2Ks in hand. The 6 is going to either fetch a 2K, 2 1Ks, or hurry up and hit their leader effect, and leader effect is going to be the card. Potential trigger looks like it's going to be a Frankie. Love seeing Frankie if you're the Nell, and there you go. Replaces the hand on that Rygo. Going to be a nice Shirahoshi 5-drop there, something that we've kind of not seen a ton as of late, and is going to go ahead and get that leader effect off. And that 7K swing is going to hit a 0 event, a greatly timed one right there, and that's going to be incredible. He's going to get him another life, and so this 7K swing is just going to be another card coming into the hand. So very, very well timed. Getting a Yamato and an Enel, another Enel in hand. You're starting to stack the non-counter a little bit. How much are you going to be able to clear? So this 5K swinging at the Jinbei is going to get a teach block. The 6 going into the Jinbei is going to take a knockout. The 9 going to the Law takes a knockout. The 9 going to the Law takes a knockout. And the other Yamato is going to be able to pop that, what is that character's name? Pudding, and gain you a life. Great job stabilizing the Sengoku. Is going to be looking through the top 5 cards of the deck. Is going to put those gravity blades to the bottom. Does find a 2K as well as the Mihawk, right? 3 different 2Ks, Crocodiles and Mihawks. Crocodile going to be the one that they grab. We're going to see exactly what he wants to do. You don't want to just jam face, right? Because jamming face does not help you at all in this game. It's just a free card cycle for the Enel. So you got to get rid of maybe some of these Yamatos, but 3 Yamatos staring you at the face. You don't have any Jinbeis left. You're almost completely out of steam. It's not looking good for you. Was a little scary for the Enel, but that 0 cost event definitely helped so much within this game. Just a super lucky trigger, but the Enel set himself up to be able to hit a good trigger as such. So is thinking about maybe using the 4 to play it down that Crocodile. If you play down that Crocodile, it's a hard moment, right? Because you want to be able to put out bodies. You want to be able to push with these bodies for game in the coming turns, but that's a valuable 2K in hand. You don't have a lot of things in hand at this point. Is going to go ahead, play the Crocodile, do that one, pick up the Sengoku, and then play that Sengoku back down onto the field. In doing so, now you're not going to be able to swing at these Yamatos. All the Yamatos are going to stand. You do find a Buggy, which is nice, and also a Gecko. You could see that Gecko come in and be potentially played in the coming turn to combo with maybe a Jinbei. So Jozu also going to the bottom of the deck. Got to read your bottom how you want. 4-drop Gecko coming in. Only Dawn left in this turn though. So 2 is going to go through into the Frankie. Leader effect blind flip is going to be a Crocodile. So the Crocodile, no Dawn left, can't pick up that Sengoku, but like I mentioned, it's going to be another body on the field. Is going to be a swing at that. Is going to let that one go. Now the 9s are going to come in. The life is going to be taken 1, 2, and 3. And with all 10, the ace is coming in, gaining a life and swinging another big body. Puts the Dofi only life left with such an intimidating board such as this. You can't push for leader unless you have rush, right? You need 4 swings to connect in order to win on this turn. Looks like Enel on its way to winning this OP10 championship, right? Has kind of snuck into this spot. Probably hit some good matchups on the way. Excellent play that we've seen. I think 3 of the 4 matches in this tournament have been by the Enel, and it's looked so nice being able to clear a bad matchup in Blackbeard. Then also clearing these matchups in Doflamingo has absolutely dominated in this game. And so with the concession, finding that victory, Enel, with such a high win rate, at least in OP09, right? OP Bounty reported 68% rate in the game. It is going to continue on in OP10, sweating the brow right there. That 0 trigger probably actually doing a ton, I feel like, in there. But as always, before we go in this, let's look at the official deck list that we've got for both of these players. And so here's the official deck list that we have from the Doflamingo player. Opting for the Josus and the Gravity Blade Tigers, right? Honestly, a pretty typical Doflamingo list that I think you'll see a lot of times, whether you're playing an OP09, prepping for OP10 in the next format. The 7 Warlords of the Sea package, very, very good. Doflamingo, in my opinion, being the best deck in format, just has so much flexibility about it. Almost came so close to winning in that game off the back of so many Jinbeis that they found within that game. Jinbei Weevil, Jinbei Boa, Jinbei Law, just worked out for him so much in there. But sometimes the cookie just doesn't in that way. A lot of this deck, right, is playing around with the different ratios. I feel like in a lot of the decks, sometimes we see putting at 3, sometimes we see Josu at 4, sometimes we don't even see Gravity Blade Raging Tiger at all. It really just depends on what the meta is, what you want to do as a deck, and what you're trying to beat. And even though falling in the finals, 2nd place at the Japan Championships is nothing to scoff at. And finally, we have the Enel deck right here. Honestly, such a cool deck in my opinion, right? A lot different, I feel like, than what we have seen in the past, specifically with the inclusion of Dureshi. I don't remember seeing Dureshi at all in 09, so really cool to see it in 10. The Electromagnetic Cannon is a really interesting card in OP10 that gets included in this. And then Lucy, kind of the premier card that really surprised a lot of people seeing in this deck. I've seen some rumblings about Lucy, especially at my locals. The first person I saw, Unlight, shout outs to it, playing that Lucy. Maybe not in the matchups that we saw on stream, but a great card overall in this deck. Playing 3 of them, this 6 cost 7,000 power brick. Packs a punch as part of your big body package, right? With the Yamatos, Katakuris, Aces, and also 7,000 power Lucy. X-Strike has also been a really cool inclusion in a lot of these Enel lists. Did a lot of work against that Blackbeard. But yeah, I would probably try to build this deck if I only owned Aces. But that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tournament. I apologize, it took a little bit longer than I thought it would getting these videos out, but with 2 tournaments happening at the same time, going on the Gundam trip and then getting super being across the country back home for Christmas, has been a little busy as of late. So I appreciate you checking out this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you got a little bit of knowledge on how to maybe approach different matchups or some different things that can happen as you're prepping for the different tournaments in the future. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, we've got the other tournament finishing up in the next couple of days, so make sure to tune in for those as well.